king of emulation, RGT85 here, checking in with a new product to take a look at. The Hyperbase Mix hard drive. This is a plug-and-play hard drive that gives you access to some interesting things. We'll take a look at that as we go along. This is currently on sale on Amazon right now for $219. I'll have an affiliate link in the description box down below should you want to check this out. But I always like these hard drives. Plug and play stuff, look at the build, see what games are on there. But this one has a little bit of a secret, and I'm surprised it's on Amazon, but I'm glad it is. So let's take a look at the Hyperbase Mix together and find out what's in store. All right, so when you plug in the hard drive, you get three different things that pop up. You get Emulation Station, you get Launchbox, and you get Play Night. Emulation Station is going to be home for most of your older retro gaming consoles, kind of pre-disc-based stuff, but there are some disc-based stuff here indeed. I like the layout of it. I like how there's individual categories for certain things. Like, as you could see here, there's certain genres that you could get into. And then, of course, when you go past the genres, you have your own individual hardware systems and all that sort of stuff. A lot of MAME, Atari, you know, your Super Famicom. It took me a second to figure out what that was. But as you scroll down the list, you know, it's the usual suspects. All these sort of older systems from the mid 90s and back. A couple things on there that are a little bit older than that. Your DS and your 3DS stuff, obviously. Your Segas, you know, just what you see with a lot of these platforms. Now, one thing that you always have to look at is the build list of this. Is this just a generic ROM dump? Did they actually try to make everything look nice on it and not have a million duplicates? Super Nintendo is a good system to check out for things like that because a lot of builds just have random ROM dumps, but you know, it looks pretty clean to me. Like there's not 1,000 duplicates on here or anything like that. Everything is as it should be. You know, we have NES here. Now this is a mixture of Famicom and NES stuff, hence why the total number of games is as high as it is. But still, once again, everything's looking pretty decent. There's not a million different versions of the same game over and over like you see with a lot of these builds as you go on in this emulation style journey. Of course, some of these systems, like what is that, Sammy? I don't know what that is. I never played really any DOS games, so there's a lot of stuff on here that I can explore that I'm not familiar with and that I can enjoy, which I think is pretty cool. Looking at the MAME side of things, you have like 10,000 games, and what's interesting is there's Tiger handheld electronic games in MAME. I'm not sure why. I guess maybe it's just what the MAME emulator can do. It can do these Tiger handheld electronic games. Kids, before like everyone had a Game Boy and a cell phone, this is the kind of crap that we played. I have absolutely no idea what I am doing here. You have two buttons. There's an attack and a jump. You can crouch. James Bond, Pierce Brosnan's face is in the corner. Now this chick is jumping down. Am I carrying her? Is she on top of me? I don't know what the hell is going on, but hey, it's fun to visit some of these games again. Here's Sky Target running on Sega Model 2 emulation hardware as looking great. I actually never knew this was an arcade game. I had the Saturn version for so long, and I never really played it because I didn't think it was that good. But this Model 2 version of the game is actually kind of fun. It's like kind of a slow afterburner, I guess you would call it. But as you can see, everything is upscaled here. You can get into RetroArch and adjust all of those settings, but if you're just going with a plug and play sort of mindset with this, it does seem like everything is optimized to be running nice and crisply. Here's Virtual On running on Naomi hardware. I could not for the life of me figure out the controls of this. I couldn't figure, don't turn around because you're gonna see my heart breaking. And then right there, I figured out how to turn around, but I couldn't figure out how to replicate it again. So I lost. But hey, you know, does RGT ever really lose? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, so next up, we'll take a look at Launchbox, which has some different systems, but some of the same systems on here. I kind of honestly don't like that. It's kind of weird to me, but you have your different features on here. You can adjust things. choose different emulators, this, that, and the other. I was trying to figure out how to full screen it here so you didn't see my taskbar at the bottom. I couldn't figure it out, so me being RGT was just like, hey, you know what, we'll roll with it. So you can see here, we got Saturn, we've got Dreamcast, we have a Dream with Dreamcast. Pretty solid lineup of Dreamcast games on here. Pretty much everything I wanted to see on there was on here. GameCube-wise, we have some GameCube games, of course. You gotta have Sudoku, okay. But most of the heavy hitter GameCube titles that people would be interested in, I feel like were on there. PlayStation 2, I did notice that the God of War games aren't on here, and I feel like that's a bit of an omission because, you know, people are going to want to play God of War. Like, God of War is a pretty popular title, and the games on the PlayStation 2 are very well thought of. But beyond that, most of the stuff that I wanted to see, such as Jeopardy with Alex Trebek, RIP Alex, was on here. Now, here's where things get interesting. You know, N64, you have your Japanese games, but like, why is NES and Famicom back on here again? I didn't really care for that. You know, PSP stuff is on here. It's always nice to see PSP stuff. Some of these games upscaled look really nice. Looking at the GameCube lineup of games, I do think it fares a little bit better than the PlayStation 2 stuff because of the fact that, you know, you have all your Zelda games on here and stuff like that. I'll show you them in just a moment. But, you know, kind of weird that there's duplicate systems on this. Kind of weird how there is no God of War on here. I mean, you could always just download it yourself and put it on this device, but I feel like you buy something like this to avoid something like that because you just want a plug and play style thing. So we'll take a look at a little GameCube emulation using Dolphin. Once again, everything is looking, sounding, and playing exactly how it should. NHL Hits 2003. This game is really fun. I was struggling with the controls a little bit because it's kind of weird. You know, I was just using my Xbox 360 controller, so trying to think of it from a GameCube perspective, it gets a little bit odd, but this is a super fun game. I actually want to play this some more. I always played the Slugfest, I played NFL Blitz, but I never played the hockey stuff, so, you know, got to represent the New York Rangers and all of that good jazz. All right, so pretty basic stuff here as far as what you would expect to see on one of these plug-and-play retro hard drives. A lot of retro games. So what's the big secret? What's the big mystery? And why am I surprised that this is on Amazon? Well, all right, so here's where things get a little bit murky as far as the, you know, the whole legality side of things. There's a lot of PC games on this device as well, and that's what makes this device unique, because everything that we've looked at on the channel so far, we just look at, you know, retro games and stuff, but this has a lot of AAA third-party, you know, games that were released on PC on this device, and they all like work and stuff like that. I'm not going to show you any gameplay footage just because I don't know, man. You know, I'm just reviewing a product here. I'm reviewing a product that was sent in to me. Don't come at me, but they do work. I checked out Crysis Remastered and I checked out Sniper Elite 2 Remastered, and they both ran flawlessly on the B-Link SER mini PC. And, you know, this is how I got that Elden Ring footage on that other mini PC that I reviewed. And this is pretty cool. You know, as someone who doesn't do a lot of PC gaming because I don't like necessarily the hassle of it, or what I assume to be hassle of it, to have something that's plug and play, you double click on the game, you have your controller plugged in and it just boots up and plays, like, that's super awesome in my opinion. That's a big thing that I like about this platform. As far as what I don't necessarily like, I think the Launchbox needs to be cleaned up a bit. I don't understand why there's a bunch of duplicate systems on there, especially if those files are separate files from the ones that are in Emulation Station, because that's just taking up room of more stuff that you could put potentially on the system. So if, you know, that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Obviously, you're not getting PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U stuff. So if you're looking for a build that has that, there are other builds out there. I've probably checked them out. If not, I'll check them out in the future. But for $219, I mean, do the math on these PC games and, you know, you kind of get the idea of what this system offers. If you're looking for PS2, GameCube stuff and further back, including, a lot of arcade hits, I think it's a pretty solid build. There's room for improvement for sure, but what you got here is pretty decent. So I'll have a link to the Amazon listing in the description box down below. It is an affiliate link, so if you pick one up, I make a couple bucks on it, which is cool. So, you support the channel and you support yourself by getting this crazy hyper beast mix hard drive. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Give me your thoughts about everything in the comments section down below. And as always, the Emulation King is working on tons of more stuff. You just wait. There's more stuff coming. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.